Let's have a post-divorce crash out together.
So that was Sierra, and she was kind enough to get up here and share her post-divorce crash out with us, so let's honor her by getting into it, shall we? Sierra went on to say that she's been holding in so much, and the only way she feels she'll ever be able to move on is just by letting it all out. Sierra said that her and her husband were together since they were in high school, and so therefore they have always had the same circle of friends for the last 20 plus years. However, since the divorce, the friend group has chosen sides, and they have not chosen Sierra's. Sierra says that she has thrown a plethora of birthdays, baby showers, diaper parties, wedding celebrations, so on and so forth for her friends, but they have all now somehow forgotten about everything that Sierra has ever done for them. Sierra said that she doesn't expect praise for doing things for her friends, but that she is making the video as a way to basically try to figure out what she did wrong that caused everybody to throw her away and abandon her friendship. And it was at this point that Sierra began to crash out because she began to list them off one by one, name by name. Starting with Big Nick. Sierra went on to remind Big Nick that he would still be working in a trailer factory, busting his ass every day at a dead-end job, hating his life if it wasn't for her. She also went on to remind him that he would not be part owner of the company that he works at with Scott if it wasn't for Sierra talking so highly of him and convincing Scott to give Big Nick the opportunity in the first place. Then she also went on to tell Big Nick to not forget about the fact that she forgave him for all of the fucked up shit that he did to his wife. And then she went on to remind him about the time that he got caught sleeping with his wife's best friend, who was also his best friend's wife. Sierra then moved on to Big Nick's wife, Taylor, who Sierra says has always kind of been a bitch. Sierra said that Taylor's husband, Big Nick, has always told Sierra that Taylor is low-key jealous of her, and Sierra went on to say that she doesn't understand why Taylor would be jealous of her. She assumes it must be because her and Big Nick have always been the closest out of the friend group. And Sierra did go on to admit that her and Taylor have had fun together at times, but she says that Taylor has always given off this mean girl energy that Sierra's just not here for. Sierra says that she doesn't have a whole lot to say about the wife Taylor, and her biggest issue with both Big Nick and his wife Taylor is the fact that they have just both randomly abandoned her, and she hasn't heard from either of them in over a year. Next up is Tisha. Sierra said a big F you to Tisha for encouraging her to have an affair during what she said was the darkest point in her life. Sierra told Tisha, just because you've been having an affair with a married man for the last 10 years doesn't mean that you should go around trying to convince all of your friends to have affairs too. Sierra went on to say that she actually believes that Tisha is a genuinely evil person that's not mentally right in the head, and she does not want Tisha around her children. Sierra went on to say that she actually can't believe that her ex-husband is even still in contact with Tisha, considering the fact that Tisha, 1, had an affair on her husband, and her husband is Sierra's ex-husband's best friend, and 2, Tisha also convinced Sierra to have an affair on him. Then Sierra moved on to Tisha's husband, JT. Sierra said that she didn't have a whole lot to say about the husband, JT, but she did go on to bring up the fact that she has hosted a many a baby showers, birthday parties, showed up with a many a birthday cakes for JT and Tisha, just for them to up and abandon her in favor of the ex-husband. Meanwhile, the ex-husband never put in any effort for any of their special occasions, and it was always Sierra doing everything. Sierra said that she actually does wish the best for Tisha's husband, JT, but she also does think that he's stupid for staying with his wife. Sierra went on to say that she hopes that the wife Tisha gets the help that she so desperately needs, and she feels really bad for Tisha and JT's sons, who she feels are going to also end up mentally fucked up as a result of being raised in that environment. Sierra went on to say that she knows both Tisha and JT hate her because she outed the wife's affair, but she also feels as though somebody had to tell JT the truth. Then Sierra addresses Austin and Melissa, whose child she says that she's babysat on multiple occasions. She's thrown them baby showers, diaper parties, so on and so forth, but then all of a sudden when Melissa sees Sierra out in public the other day, she pretends like she doesn't even know who Sierra is. Sierra said that really hurt her feelings because she always considered Melissa the realest one out of the friend group, but now she's acting just like everybody else. Sierra said that she was friends with Melissa's husband Austin since middle school, and granted, while they weren't the closest the entire time, they still have been friends for a really long time. Now she hasn't heard from Austin since the day he showed up to Sierra's house with Sierra's ex-husband and a police officer to pick up the ex-husband's things. Then Sierra circled back around to Big Nick and said a big F you to him for knowing all the things that he knew behind her back and never saying anything about it. I mean, so close to the point that Sierra claimed that people used to say they thought Sierra and Nick were going to end up together in the end, and people apparently used to call them husband and wife back in French class when they were in school. Sierra went on to say the moral of the story is F everybody. She doesn't know what she did to deserve being abandoned by everybody that she's been close with her entire life, and she said a big F you to her ex-husband for having an affair behind her back. Sierra said that her ex-husband would never admit that he had an affair, but she knows for a fact that he did, and she knows that he had an affair with a woman that Sierra considered to be one of her closest female friends. Sierra said when she first started to suspect that something was going on between her ex-husband and this friend, they both lied to her and claimed that nothing was happening, but then when it finally got exposed, they claimed that they lied to her because they didn't want to hurt her. But Sierra said that it hurt even worse at that point because at that point it had already been going on for 4 years, and she had to come to the realization that everybody knew about it and was just smiling in her face. And then Sierra threw her mother-in-law and her ex-husband's nieces in the mix. Sierra went on to let them know that all of the housework her and her ex-husband did for them, all of the car parts they helped out with, all of the money they gave them throughout the years, etc., was never thanks to the ex-husband. He never wanted to do it. That it only happened because Sierra was advocating for helping them. Not only was she always advocating for helping them, but she was also always showing up to their events and always trying to be there for them through everything. Sierra went on to ask how many volleyball games her ex-husband made it to. How many gymnastics meets? How many times did he show up to watch you guys cheer? And then Sierra went on to answer by saying none, but she was there. Then Sierra called out the fact that she still chose to show up for those nieces after finding out that those same exact nieces were feeding her child weed and vapes behind her back. Sierra then went on to address her ex-husband, and she went on to ask him how he could help raise a child for 16 years and then all of a sudden cut him off and act like he doesn't even know who he is. Sierra said that her ex-husband helped raise her son from a previous relationship since he was roughly about a year old, and now he suddenly acts like he's never been a part of his life and he didn't even wish him a happy birthday this year. Sierra says that she admits that she messed up during the marriage as well because, like we talked about earlier, Tisha did convince her to have an affair after she found out that her husband was having an affair first, but she says that it's not a pissing contest and two wrongs don't make a right, and just because he had an affair doesn't mean that she should have went out and had one as well. Sierra went on to say a big F you to all the friends that she's had for the last 15 to 20 years, and she went on to say that she thought it was disgusting the way they completely abandoned her and cut her off for having an affair after the fact, but haven't cut him off and abandoned him for having one first. Then the video goes viral, and Sierra makes a follow-up video saying that seeing it go viral was a pleasant surprise to wake up to. Sierra said that she appreciates the love and support, and she also said that it makes her sad to realize how many people can resonate with her story time, and she went on to say that she believes that everybody just needs to work towards being better people. Sierra went on to say that she wishes no harm on the people that she talked about in her story time. She wishes them the best. She wishes their children the best because the kids are just innocent bystanders in the situation. She doesn't want any of the people from the story time to be found nor harassed, even though from the looks of her comment section, it was a little too late. And Sierra went on to answer some frequently asked questions. People asked how her first son isn't her husband's if her and her husband had been together since high school, and she went on to say that she obviously got pregnant very young. She was in a long-term committed relationship with the father of her first son. She gave birth to their son at the beginning of her junior year, and she didn't get with her ex-husband until the beginning of her senior year after she was already a mom. She said her and her oldest son's dad get along great. They co-parent fine. Her and the stepmom get along amazing. She has no complaints there. People were asking about all the people who were involved in the story time, asking where they are now, and she went on to say that they're probably scrambling a little bit because she didn't ran her mouth, but she went on to say that they're all still currently pretending to be happy. Sierra went on to say that she knows that they're not happy because even before she posted her crash out videos, at least two of the girls who she talked about in the story times were always posting things to social media that made it obvious that they were not happy with their lives. People were asking how the kids were handling the divorce. She said that they were handling it pretty well. She said that her oldest has some deeper issues that don't involve the divorce, so she's struggling a little bit there, but all in all, they're doing pretty good. She went on to say that the son that her and her ex-husband share, however, is living his best life because his dad is absolutely trying to buy his love. She said that her ex-husband now has his own house, and he went out and bought all these golf carts and electric scooters and just all these things to try to entice the kid, and she said that it's absolutely working. She said that she doesn't care, though, because what he does at his house is his house, and what she does at her house is her house. She said that people were accusing her of doing all of this for a pity party, but she went on to say that she really just wanted to hold everybody in the situation accountable, including herself. And she also wanted to push the message that it's not okay to forgive a man for cheating, but then abandon a woman for doing the same thing. And then Big Nick found his way into the comment section of a creator's video who was talking about this situation, and Sierra saw the comment, so she responded to the comment in a video. Big Nick in the comment section basically went on to say that yes, Sierra's ex-husband cheated on her, which is wrong, but he was never physical with the person. It was only an emotional affair. But Sierra was actually physical with another person, which is the reason why the ex-husband filed for divorce, because she was physical with other people and then continued to do so even after being caught. That's when Sierra responded and was like, look, I already admitted that I had an affair. She was like, now did I have multiple affairs? Kinda, sorta, not really. She said that she had one person that she messed around with on multiple occasions, not different people that she was having multiple affairs with, so in her mind that only counts as one affair. Then she went on to say that her ex-husband actually didn't file for divorce. She did, and if Big Nick would take the time to just look up the paperwork, because you can look up their divorce paperwork in the state that they live in, he would see that it was all of her handwriting, and actually her ex-husband went with her when she filed for divorce at the courthouse. But she said they could play this game if they really want to. She also does not believe that her ex-husband was never physical with the lady because he was literally telling her that he had fallen in love with her. But that's the breakdown, you guys. Love you. Bye.